welcome back to Gardening Young. So today we are going to be seed starting and I'm so excited. We're going to be starting some fall seeds and I can't wait to take you guys along to start all the things for fall because it is slowly approaching, and that's crazy that we're nearing the end of the season. So without further ado, let's just hop right into the video. Okay, so if you're new here and you haven't seen my setup yet, I start my seeds in my basement on a 5-tier wire shelf with some grow lights. I don't have a greenhouse, so I have decided that this works best for me. All of my cups and things that I use that I absolutely love are the Bootstrap farmer cups. They're the 32 plug cell trays with the cups, and I absolutely love it. Then I have a tray underneath my this so that I can bottom water, and so that's kind of how I have it set up. And today we're going to be starting some fall seeds. So a lot of the things we're going to be starting are like things like lettuce and kale and cilantro and spinach and things like that. I know that it's kind of controversial over whether you should either sow outdoors or start. Some things like, for example, lettuce is one of the things they really recommend that you sow outside. I have found that I have a really hard time sowing those things, especially in the heat. And just in the heat and the end of the, during the fall, there's nothing wrong with sowing. You can totally sow, but the other problem I have is bugs eat my things really quickly. So for some things like lettuce and kales and things like that, I prefer to start them just because that's easier for me. And I have the setup to do it, so I don't mind. So we are going to be starting about a tray and maybe a half. I haven't really decided today, but that's kind of what's going on. So let's just hop right into the seed starting. I like to use the Fox Farm potting mix to start my seeds in. Now, this is another controversial thing. A lot of people will be like, okay, well, you need to be starting your seeds in seed starting mix. And the only problem with that, I have no problem with that, but the only problem with that, with seed starting, and the reason I use potting mix is because the seed starting mix that you will buy wherever that is marketed for seed starting, that mix, one, it tends to be more pricier, so I can get more potting mix for I can get more potting mix for less than if I were to buy a lot of seed starting mix. And then the other thing is seed starting mix is not, it doesn't have any like nutrition in it, so there's no fertilizers or anything in that. So I choose to use the Happy Frog, the Fox Farm potting mix because it tends to be really light and fluffy, and I found it works great. And I start right in these cups, so I'm not really doing any up potting. I up pot, I don't do any up potting, so I do straight into potting mix. One of the things that you could do if you wanted to was you could start them in little little cells like this in seed starting mix if you wanted to do that, and then upgrade them into potting mix whenever they get bigger. That's one of the options, but I just choose to save the money and do it directly into these 2-inch pots from Bootstrap Farmer. So the next thing that I do is I pre-moisten my soil whenever I am seed starting. I just find it's a lot easier, and it gives it gets the seeds moist right away. So it also makes it easier to fill up the pots, because what happens is if you are filling them up with dry soil, you don't get the most soil you want in there, because when it's moist, it's obviously heavier, so you're gonna get the most soil in here if you have moist soil. Because the other thing too is if you have to water afterwards, the soil sinks down if it's dry, and it can misplace the seeds and stuff like that. So that's why I choose to pre-moisten my soil. I just found it works really well. So I have a big old bowl here, and I am just going to, in chunks, put some soil in here. I have a gallon jug of water that I'm just going to moisten it real quick, and then I would just work my way through this tray, filling up these cups until I have as much as I want filled up, and then we will get to the actual seed starting. So let's get into it. Tray filled up all the dirt you can see here. Now the next step is obviously planting the seeds, but I just kind of wanted to take you along to show you some of the varieties that I am growing, because I know that's something that's really fun. If you guys haven't bought your seeds for fall yet, or you're looking for some fun varieties, I have a few of my favorites here. Or some that are highly recommended. So I just wanted to go through and share that with you, because I know seeds, at least for me, is one of my favorite things. So the first thing is a big emphasis I'm putting on in my fall garden this year is salad stuff. So I want to do a lot of lettuce, a lot of spinach, because we do use a lot of spinach. So that's another thing that I really want to put an emphasis on. So spinach and lettuce, and then of course kale. We eat a lot of kale too. I love making kale chips. So those are the three main things. Those are the greens that I'm really wanting to make sure I have. The other is cilantro. So I have the slow bolt cilantro. I actually have grown this, but it never really did great, just because I think I planted it at the wrong time. So I'm excited to get a good harvest of that. And then something I tried to grow this spring but didn't really do great was collard greens. This is the Georgia Southern variety. I was gifted this, and I'm really excited to try that. So I don't think I'll do as many of these plants, but I definitely want to do these plants. So one thing is each row is 8. So I'm thinking that I'll do like 1 row of spinach. I have the I don't even know how you say that, spinach variety from M.I. Gardener. I really like it. It grew amazing actually this spring in my basement because I never got to put it out. I never got to harden it off. So it did great in my basement, and I never hardened it off. It just got too hot by the time it was ready because I planted it late, and it got too hot. So I'm really excited to grow that outside for the fall. And then as far as lettuce and kale go, I'm growing the bronze guard leaf lettuce, the Paris Island Cost Romaine. I actually, this variety is cool because so I sowed some seeds, I think it was like last fall, and I think I showed it in one garden tour, but I planted some seeds and they never really did anything, you know, like not a lot of them came up, and then this spring one of them came up and got huge, and we actually used them as lettuce wraps, and it was really, really cool. So I'm excited to see if I can get them that big again, so that I can do some lettuce wraps. Then I have this, it's called the Snappy Fresh Mesclun. It's like a bundle from Botanical Interest, so I'll probably do a few of those. It's like baby greens in a sense, so really excited for those. And then we have the Grand Rapids leaf lettuce, and last but not least, the Butter King lettuce from Baker Creek. So those are the lettuces. And then as far as kale goes, you have your basic blue curled Scotch kale. I grew this before, it does great. Then you have this one has been talked about, and again, one of the ones I tried to grow this spring but didn't do great. And it's the Russian red or the Ragged Jack kale. I know a lot of people rave about this one, so I'm really excited for that. And then last but not least, the dazzling blue kale. So that's pretty much what I'm growing this fall. Not a whole lot of varieties, but I'm trying to go more on each variety this fall. And the other thing that I have struggled for every fall is squirrels eating my stuff. So we are going to try to figure out how to avoid that this year. I'm thinking of a few options, but that's the other thing that I'm really trying to avoid is squirrels eating this after putting all this work into it. So not a whole lot of varieties, but I am doing more of each variety than normal. So I'm really excited about it. The other thing I wanted to mention is how I label big trays like this. So how I do it is I do one or two varieties in one row, and then I just label it. So for example, if I was doing or whatever, the spinach, all down one row, like ×8, what I would do is I would put one at the very front that says spinach on it, and then ×8 or entire row or whatever, so that I know this entire row is spinach. So that's kind of how I do it. I don't put an individual marker at every single cup, because one, it wastes the markers, and two, it's just easier. I don't have to sit there writing for every single cup, because that would be 32 markers, and I'm just not doing that. So let's just hop right into the sewing. have my everything planted, everything is sown. So I ended up doing a little bit of a second tray because I ran out of room here. So everything's planted. I'm super happy about that. School is starting really soon, so I'm glad to get that done because I'm starting up sports practices and school, so having that done is a huge relief. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys comment, like, subscribe, all those good things, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!